welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, bro.
We have the only one, just DC.
Tis I.
Let's get started just by telling the folks your bit about your background and how you got into writing and production.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I grew up uh just being a church musician,
Mhm.
playing in my home church, which my grandfather was the pastor of. And so it started from there. I used to write little songs,
Mhm.
age like 6, 7, stuff like that. Um, but then fast forward to when I started actually producing in like 2017. That's when I started actually getting more serious about writing and thinking about making it a career. I was in
Mhm.
college for graphic design, but I really liked just working with people and producing for other people. But as you know, it's hard to get people in the studio to record. Uh, so I ended up having to do a lot of the recording myself.
I got you.
And so that's when I really started like getting into more songwriting with my production, like 2017.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Um, when you were getting into your songwriting at first, how was that process? Just getting to lyrics.
Man, it was it was difficult, I think, only because I I've always been more of just a music guy.
Mhm.
I'm all about the instrumentation and all of that. And so the writing, trying to figure out, do I want to be vulnerable and speak on things that I've experienced or gone through, or do I want to write from another perspective of looking looking in from the outside or outside looking inside? So at first it was kind of difficult. My cousin Cameron Williams, who's a great artist in
Mhm.
itself and a great writer, I would make a lot of songs with him, and he kind of helped like me develop my writing and understanding like how to tap into the vulnerable parts and writing from a perspective, other than myself as well.
I got you.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say is like the biggest key to being learning when for somebody? Okay, this is a better way to say it. If you had to go back and do it again, what would you say is like the key thing you would go for first as far as learning to be authentic as a writer?
First, I think not to take yourself too seriously. When
Mhm.
I think back on it, that's really what the main problem was. Like I was just so like want to seem deep to people. So when you're trying to figure out what you want to portray, you're already not being authentic
Mhm.
because being you should be one of the easiest, should be the easiest thing, but it's often more difficult.
So
Um,
overthinking.
it's definitely overthinking, overthinking, taking yourself too seriously, um, truly having fun with it. Like I said, I've always been much more inclined on the musical side,
Mhm.
and so that always flowed freely. Um, and so, like you said, when it came to writing, I got in my head about it, which
Mhm.
slowed down, my process a lot.
I
So
got
yeah,
you.
overthinking and don't take it too seriously.
I got you. That's great. It seems like you more went around like pretty much a trial by fire and more intuitive path rather than just focusing on technical things and then trying to make technical creative, right?
Yes, trial by fire is right. Trial by fire is right, man. Yeah, and you get burned a little bit, but it's all just to help you get better. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But yeah, I'm very much, that's just my personality though. I'm gonna jump in it and we're gonna see see where it goes.
I
And
got you.
if it goes up in flames, then that's just how it goes. But oftentimes it ends up going really well.
Okay. What was like the first project in where you really just got where you felt like you were you then?
Oh man. Okay, so then we'd have to fast forward from 2017 to 2020, right?
Okay. So it's down to the root.
Down to the
Right
root.
before it. Okay.
Yep. Right before Down to the Root, which Down to the Root is my album, uh came out in November of 2020. Earlier that year, the same guy I mentioned, Cameron Williams, he lives in LA,
Mhm.
and he had a showcase happening, and he was just telling me about it. Yeah, it's me and my friends, and he went to a recording school out there, and we're putting on a showcase, blah blah blah. And I told him, I was like, man, well, I might come down to just to come to the show and support. And he was like, well, if you come down, I'm gonna make you perform. And so I'm like, man, whatever. Time goes by, we chop it up again. He's like, yeah, you still coming down? I'm like, yeah, that's the plan. He's like, okay, what you gonna sing? And I'm like, man. So now I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of getting a little excited about it. Like, okay, I get to perform.
Hmm.
Like we talked off camera. I love live performance. And so I was like, man, I have a bunch of music on
Hmm.
my hard drive and a bunch of songs written that artists have not come to cut yet.
Hmm.
And so I was like, well, I'll cut them. And so I took 5 of the tracks that I like. Well, I took like 6 or 7. Finished writing whatever needed to be written, recorded it, and then put it out like in a month. And then I flew down to California to do the performance. But that's how that first project, which was called, man, I can't even remember Good Vibes. Good Vibes was the title
Hmm.
of the project. But the first single actually was called Treat You Right. And that's where it felt like I had finally stepped into my own
Hmm.
thing. But yeah, so early 2020.
So what lessons do you think like played the biggest part on the way to that?
Man, nothing too specific. The main thing was I was doing a lot of it.
Hmm.
So a lot of writing. Like I had a bunch of songs. Like I said, I only chose about 6 or 7 that I ended up really, really holding on to. And then of course the project only has 5.
Hmm.
But same as I said earlier, stop overthinking. Um, and also just being courageous enough to put it out.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's easy to play it for your friends on the phone or mom or whoever when it's just on your hard drive, but actually playing it for like putting it out on platforms and stuff is different. But as far as like getting the courage, man, it was just repetition. I was writing so much at the time.
How many songs would you say you got done in a month during that period?
Well, for that month, I just focused on those
I
six
meant
or
like
seven.
leading up to that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, like when you were in your volume stage.
oh, at least 30.
Ooh, 30 songs a month? You was a machine.
Given, given again with the trial by fire, figuring it out, right? All of them weren't first verse, chorus, second verse, bridge. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Some might just been a verse and a chorus,
I got you.
or it might just be a hook one week. So
More so you got like chunks of what a song could be,
absolutely,
like
then
together,
full out songs. So
because you were writing for artists to come and complete
exactly, exactly. So I was just starting ideas
and
here
giving
and
them
there
room.
to do their thing. Exactly. So
Okay.
yeah, let me not say 30 full songs a month,
But like
but
that's still a lot of material.
absolutely. No, I was just really. It was 2020, so we was in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so I took that time, and especially, fortunately, the job that I was working at the time, paid like the first couple of months during the pandemic,
Hmm.
even though we couldn't go into the office. So I was able to still, financially be responsible while taking the time to figure out this whole writing game.
I got you.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, like that volume stage is probably pretty good. Did you ever do that before, or is that just a factor of the circumstances?
Strictly on the circumstances.
Understand?
Like I was now making tracks.
Hmm.
I couldn't even give you a number a month, like how much I was making at the time.
Mm.
Because I was on a roll. Like a day, I could easily do like 5, and now that would be full tracks, like
Mm.
not even just like a 8 bar,
Be
4 bar
fleshed
loop.
out.
It'd be fleshed out. But for the writing, no, that was strictly because of the circumstances. Writing, like I said, it was kind of intimidating because I didn't know. I struggled to like find my footing.